Hi, I'm Madonna.
I'm your worst nightmare.
To rule the world.
Why don't you show them what you do, honey?
You've never had more fun with anyone else.
People, we gotta move on to the next song.
I'm sweet and I'm a bitch, you know what I mean? And that's always been the way it is. I'm a human being.
I'm waiting.
You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna, Louise, Veronica, Ciccone, and beyond. Hey, everybody. My name is Stefan.
Hey, guys, it's Tony. And guess what? We've got another special podcast crossover event today. Joining us on the show is Jess Rothschild, host of, Hot Takes and Deep Dives. Welcome, Jess. I almost flubbed the title.
Listen, it's been a long week, but you got it.
Yes, welcome, Jess.
Thanks,
Thanks for coming on
boys.
the show. How's everything?
I love it.
How's your pandemic?
Listen, I'm thriving as best I can. I live in New York City like you guys, and I've actually stayed. I haven't left. You know, I didn't go to some family country house. I pretty much have been here consistently.
No
since
Hamptons?
March.
No Hamptons escape?
Well, okay, to be completely honest, once the weather got better, I did start going to Fire Island.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you got to get away a little bit. You know, it's and you can't.
Yeah, because March, April, and May, that was rough. you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Once the I live very close to where the riots were taking place, and that was a very, very difficult week. That was harder than all 3 months of the pandemic combined, to be honest. Just being so close, and the noise to midnight, and waking up in the morning, and the stores around me being shattered, my CVS, the glass being shattered, that was more invasive, on my, to me personally, than I'm fine with a quarantine. I can deal with all of that. But when you're disturbing the peace in my, and I can hear it, it's very, it became quite harrowing.
Yeah, it was, it wasn't a fun time for sure.
Yeah.
Well, now we're here podcasting.
Yeah, now we're here.
I always love to say that the podcast has kept Tony and I sane. It's no matter what chaos out in the world is happening, at least for an hour a week, we get to sit back and talk about Madonna.
We actually ramped it up during the pandemic and started, doing at least an episode a week. And I noticed that you did the same thing too. So I mean, it's great. It's a great thing to have and to put out there, and then when people respond, it's like an extra bonus, right?
Yeah, it is. It has been an amazing outlet for me, and my wheelhouse is the Bravo universe. My podcast is a Bravo-centric podcast, so it can revolve around a little bit the news, and I'm sure your listeners who are Bravo fans know that. These two lead cast members on Vanderpump Rules were suddenly fired, Stassi and Kristen, and that was sort of earth-shattering news in the Bravo cinematic universe. So that week, I wound up having to do an emergency third episode to react. 'Cause that's a major thing that I have to react to. So that was an obscene amount of content that I put out that 1 week. But it's been...
Yeah, we can relate. We had to do an emergency episode when the Medellin video dropped.
Yeah,
exactly. There you go.
We try.
Exactly.
We always say we are not a breaking news podcast, but exactly. If Madonna all of a sudden dropped some, the Madame X DVD today, we'd be like, Tony, get on the horn. We got to do this again.
Of course.
Actually, speaking of breaking news, we get to do one of my fun segments this week, which we haven't done in a little bit, which is This Week in Ciccone. As our listeners might have seen, I think everybody saw, Madonna posted a bit of a revealing photo on her Instagram and created quite the stir yet again with that implied nude selfie of her. I think the only fashion she had
looked
was a hat.
It looked like a topless version of the Give It To Me video.
Oh,
you're right.
Yeah, that's a good call. Good call.
I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Jess? I'm sure you saw the picture. Yeah.
Of course. Woo. Listen, what I'm not going to lie to you guys. Did I love it? Like, no. Like, I don't think any Madonna fan who says like, oh, I love it. Like, they're lying. Like, they're lying to themselves. Like, I personally, like, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. And like, I'm not a delusional fan. Like, it's confusing because I feel like, and I follow Madonna Scrapbook as you guys do on Instagram. And so like, I'm constantly looking at old photos of her, and she is beautiful naturally, like absolutely beautiful face, beautiful body. And it has always been so since day one. And I don't know why she started, I don't know who put this insecurity in her. I don't know, I guess like, maybe upwards of like 10 years ago at this point. Or, I mean, I know it has to do with age and like we're all getting older, but everybody knows what you look like. It's like, we're not like, oh, this is what she's not like a new pop star that's, trying to fool like Lana Del Rey, who like drastically changed her physical appearance, or like the Kardashians who drastically changed their physical appearance. Like everyone knows what Madonna like looks like. Yeah. So the point is, I find it a little upsetting and like unnerving. It's like to me, it's mostly like, where is the woman that I love? Like, where is she? Like, is she there anymore?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, physically.
I had read some thoughts on, I mean, there was a lot of hate that came out from after she posted that, which I thought was sad because, and again, like you said, it is, she didn't really resemble the Madonna that I've grown to love. And it made me wonder what had happened or why. And I think that, people had commented saying, one, it was a reflection picture, and sometimes, mirror reflections can sort of distort how your face looks. But then I had read somebody had said, it's possible that she's taking a steroid like prednisone, which, for her hip and for her knee injury, that she's possibly taking a steroid to help with the healing process. And prednisone has a tendency to do what they call, it does this thing called moon face, which your face does have a bit of a swelling to it. And so that could just be that could be what it is. I mean, again, I'm all for if I mean, God knows if I had money to alter things, I'd probably get my original hairline back, but and maybe get rid of some crow's feet. But so God bless Madonna. Let her, if that's making her happy, then God bless her. But
yeah, I mean, listen, there's nothing she can do at this. Like, I've been a fan, for I'm 37 right now, and I've been a fan since I was like 6 years, 5-6 years old. Like, there's nothing I'm on this, I'm here till the story ends. Like, I'm not, I'm on this train. I'm going to see the way the movie ends. Like, there's nothing she's going to do. It's be like, oh, like, I'm done.
That's it. It's over. It's over.
Yeah, exactly. But, it actually reminds me, I've talked about this with a few guests. I mean, like the conversation on my show, like it somehow always like reverts back to Madonna. It's so funny. But I've talked about it with a couple of guests, so it reminds me of how she suddenly started using auto-tune in the mid 2000s. And it's like, I feel like some producer put this insecurity in her. And I wonder if somebody did the same thing about her appearance, like, because she was always so confident about like her, I assume she was confident about her singing voice, but like both things are like not what we fell in love with initially.
Yeah, I don't know.
I particularly like the boudoir shot because, it gives me another opportunity to kind of blow up the back and see her artwork. And
oh my God, I love scoping out what she has in her bathroom. It's so much fun to be like, oh, look at that tile. Or, oh, I love that. I love that sink fixture. Do you guys remember?
There's a lot of really expensive Judaica that she has, if you know what to look for. Like, a lot of these like ancient, Jewish relics, made of like silver and gold. And you always see them in the back of her.
Do you guys remember maybe it was almost a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, she posted a video of David dancing to, I think he was dancing to Beat It, the Michael Jackson song.
Yeah, she got shit for that too.
Okay, so here, first of all, like David is like an insanely talented dancer, but the funniest comment I saw on Instagram was like, I just need to know if that's her kitchen. Like, is that like actually her kitchen? They needed to know, like, was that her tile?
Jess, I think that might be the guest kitchen.
Yeah. Like
it's her kitchen, but is it her kitchen in the Upper East Side townhouse, or the kitchen in the Hamptons, or the kitchen in her London estate? You know, I mean, she's got quite a few kitchens.
I would like to know.
I have a question for both of you. Who do you think is the better dancer, David Banda, or let's think back to when Rocco was on the Sticky and Sweet tour?
Oh, now come on. Let's. I'm not gonna start a standing war here on who it is. I think they each have their own equal talents. I haven't seen Rocco dance lately. I know. I'd love to see what kind of skills he's got now.
Well, he's very busy. I don't know if you check out the Daily Mail, maybe about once a week, you'll see him in his latest dandy outfit. I mean, he is a sharp dresser, I gotta say. Yeah, these bespoke British suits, and I mean, no one can touch him when it comes to fashion. Not even Harry Styles. I'll take that to the grave with me.
So, before we get into any questions, let's just give a little proper introduction to our guest today. Jess Rothschild is the host of Hot Takes and Deep Dives, a podcast dedicated to Real Housewives, Bravolebrities, and other pop culture icons. Jess was on the founding team of the internet's most popular lesbian website, where she interviewed Sandra Bernhard, Margaret Cho, Linda Perry, and a plethora of other legends. She now interviews Housewives and Housewives-adjacent talent, yet always circles the conversation back to Madonna, as one should, in each episode of her current podcast, Hot Takes and Deep Dives. So that's a little bit of background on who you are, but I'm curious how your Madonna journey got started. How did you, before we get to anything about the Bravo universe, what was your first touch with Madonna? You said you started off early, so I'm assuming you were borderlining it up with some jelly bracelets in the living room?
Well, no, I was not yet. Actually, I was like born that year. Like I was born in 82. So like you got to give me like a couple albums to like learn to walk and stuff. So so the earliest memory, because I've like tried to trace this back, and I think I've landed on my earliest memory was seeing the Papa Don't Preach video, I guess on MTV or VH1. And I was a huge MTV fan, and I think it must have been Papa Don't Preach or Open Your Heart. Like I definitely remember watching those two videos over and over again in like my childhood bedroom. And I think at that point, I remember like when my mom would drive my friend and I to school, we would listen to like a Virgin, like the song, and probably that whole album over and over. So I think it was like around that time that it was like my initial like brushes with fandom. But it was definitely like the sort of the trio, or like the 3-pronged approach of like the Like a Prayer album, Truth or Dare, and Vogue. I think that like cemented it as like being an obsessive super fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a big 1, 2, 3 punch, I think, for a lot of people. You know, it's like a Prayer sort of escalated her. Blonde Ambition, Vogue, all that sort of like elevated her even more. And then Truth or Dare, it was just like, and you can't touch her now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember from there, I mean, probably, you know, shortly after Truth or Dare, like I remember I loved Rosie. And so the fact that Madonna was in A League of Their Own, like it just like grew, she became more and more relevant to my interests, like both Rosie and Madonna. And the fact that they were suddenly merging just compounded my obsession. It's like it was a thing that was feeding on itself, you know?
Yeah.
And also from 1989 through 1993, it was nonstop Madonna. We had her the entire time.
It was amazing.
Weren't those wonderful years? I loved those years.
Dude, I really feel that the 90s is Madonna's best era. I like my favorite albums. Like the 2 albums that I play the most often are Bedtime Stories and Erotica.
Yeah, mine too.
Really, though, like that sound, it's timeless. That early 90s, that it just, the music is just so warm. I mean,
Well,
particularly that time.
she did great things where she touched on 90s house music with Erotica, and then she did like 90s R&B with Bedtime Stories. So it was like she sort of covered the gamut on like what sounds were relevant and what sounds you're going to remember. And it was peak Madonna at those albums. I mean, those are like, those are albums you don't skip a song, you know? Like if there's a couple of Madonna albums where I'm like, I'm not going to listen to that song. I'm going to skip that one. Erotica, Bedtime Story, all the way through.
Mm-hmm. And I still, I mean, Jesus, it's 2020 and I am still listening to them all the goddamn time. Like at least once a week, I'm listening to one of those albums, like straight through, especially on like if like we were talking about like the Hamptons, like if I'm driving out east, like I've listened to, hell, I even listened recently to Like a Virgin, like the whole album, like straight through on a drive home. And like there are even some songs that I was like, that I'm like newly discovering in 2020, like 100 years after they came out. I'm like, oh my God, it's just a song that I randomly would skip. Like, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. That song, Stay, on Like a Virgin. Yes. I am a late in life, like lover of this song, recorded in 1984. And now it's 2020. And like, I don't know, I missed it my whole life. And like, here I am. And like, I'll listen to it all the time, like on repeat.
Jess, I had the same thing because I remember I got the record when I was a kid and Dress You Up was the first song on side B. And then there were all those other songs. And I would only listen to Dress You Up and just put it away after that. And then suddenly I'm like, Stay and Pretender. I love those songs. Everyone's like, what?
I'm curious, like, what are your other, there's nothing I love more than like a late in life discovery, like something that's been there the whole time, but then like, it's, oh my God, you're discovering it for the first time. Like now, like what other songs?
Oh my God, I've become the biggest stan for To Have and Not to Hold from Ray of Light.
Good call, yes.
And Love Tried to Welcome Me from Bedtime Stories has been my jam for about a year now, where I like have to put it on at least once a day. I don't know why. And someone told me a couple summers ago, they're like, yeah, I love how it sounds like an old Latin bolero ballad. And I'm like, really? And then I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what they're doing. You know?
Yeah,
So,
I think my song was Why Is It So Hard from Erotica. I never listened to that when that album came out. And for some strange reason, I think I went back to it last year when things were getting crazy in life for some reason. And I was like, yeah, Madonna wrote a song about this, I think. And then I listened to it. And I'm like, this is such a great house song. Why did I not love this when it first came out?
So it's so funny you mentioned that song. Why Is It So Hard, right? From Erotica. Yeah. So that's a song that I discovered, or I like redo. Yeah, song that I just skipped over, you know, most of my youth listening to. And then probably maybe like 10 years ago, I rediscovered it, but it was the live version off the Girly Show, Girly Show. Yeah. And I was so in love with that live version that on my iPhone, I actually replaced the studio version with the live version. And it was only like in the past year that I'm like, oh, I wonder what the actual studio version sounds like. And like, it's perfectly fine. It's great. I don't know why I was so psycho. And it was like, it must be this live version.
Isn't the live version isn't I think it's available on the I'll Remember CD single. Is that right?
Why Is It So Hard?
Oh. Yeah. Well, no, I know that they released, didn't they release Why Is It So Hard inside that Madonna book that was about the Girly Show?
I don't know.
Maybe.
There was a CD that came along with that, and I think the Why Is It So Hard live version was on that CD. And because I remember when I got that book, I was disappointed that of all the songs from the Girly Show that she could have included the live version of, the one song she included was Why Is It So Hard, because I wasn't into it at the time. And I was like, I want it like Holiday, because the Holiday from Girly Show is amazing, or, you know, like Deeper and Deeper, or one of the like Vogue.
Yeah, I wanted the deeper and deeper disco orgy suite, you know, and instead I get German Like a Virgin.
Yes, and Why Is It So Hard? I know, I was kind of disappointed. Wait,
Like a Weirchin?
I want to go back to 1 second. Jess, you mentioned driving to the Hamptons. You're not on a private helicopter with the Bravo people? What?
That's amazing.
I can't believe you're not helicoptering it out. I mean,
listen, no, I'm a local. I'm a pedestrian. I have to drive out there.
Good. I hope you weren't at Joe Farrell's party last weekend.
Oh, good Lord. No. Yeah, I was with Ramona. Spreading the coronavirus.
Oh my God. The Ramona virus.
Yeah, exactly. Are you guys Bravo fans, Housewives fans?
Stefan is not, but he asked me if I was a fan, and I said, I don't know if I can call myself a fan, but then again, I've watched every show since its first episode, so what does that make me?
Oh, you've watched all of the franchises?
Yeah.
Oh, then it sounds like you're a fan.
I don't know how he finds the time.
Because it comes on and you can't do anything else.
See,
right,
that's
guys?
why I don't have cable. I cut cable years ago.
Oh my God.
So I don't have, I mean, I'm assuming you can probably watch it on some of the streaming sites and whatnot.
It's all on Hulu.
Okay.
It's all on Hulu, baby. What's your favorite franchise?
I was really happy when Beverly Hills started, and even though they kind of let me down every season, I like the promise of Beverly Hills. But you know what?
Are you up
New
on
York,
this season?
Oh yeah.
This season
this is good.
of Beverly Hills is amazing. It's
Denise Richards is the best thing that could have happened to that
100%. Absolutely.
New
York is
My only exposure to the Housewives franchise is, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a big fight between Lisa Rinna and some other woman in a restaurant, and they were like throwing cups at each other, and it was like, "Don't talk about my husband." And
yes,
and so now I had never seen that fight on the show, but somebody had done a version of that with SRMS. You know, that like sensory, where like,
oh my God, it was T Kyle. It was T Kyle.
ASMR.
It
was T Kyle.
That's what it is. And like I had never seen the original clip, but somebody had sent me that clip where it's like, I don't think you know what you're doing. Don't you dare talk about my husband like that. Don't you dare talk about it. And I was like, what? It literally tickled me to no end. I thought this was the most hysterical thing. So then I had to like find the original clip, because I was like, well, is it really this funny to watch it without the high drama whisper? And it was actually just as entertaining, but I kind of liked the ASMR version a little bit better. But
first of all, I love that you just mentioned T Kyle. He's actually on my show on Monday.
Oh,
nice.
I can't wait to listen.
Yeah.
He is hilarious. I've been following him for years.
He's the best.
Like the meme queen of the
Love
internet.
him. Yeah, but, we talk about a lot of because like I do get into a lot of like pop music stuff as well as you know. It's like listen, like my core audience is they are like Bravo Housewives fans, but so I would say like 80 to 85% of it is that that niche, but then like 15, the rest of it, it's like other stuff that I'm obsessed with. So like Gaga, Britney, Christina, Madonna, but so like we definitely get into like Britney, Christina, all that stuff.
Oh, good. So
and of course Madonna comes up. He talks about going to her show.
They did his podcast with Bradley Stern. They did a really good deep dive into confessions. So
yes, they did.
Doing that. So tell me what you're loving on Bravo right now.
Ooh, what I'm loving on Bravo right now. I would say, like I just said, I think my favorite show that's on the air right now, it would have to be Beverly Hills. I mean, New York is historically my favorite franchise. Like that has had the best overall run, the most consistent run, 12 years in. This season happens to be, they're going through like some growing pains. Like the loss of Bethany is, I think it's left a bigger hole than people initially were claiming.
Die? Where did she go?
Well,
she went to Millionaire's Island.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she kicked it, like she just.
No. She's. But get this, she actually announced this week that she's starting her own podcast.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Well, like I always say, there's room for everyone.
It's something to do. Like in the 90s, it was a nose ring or a belly button ring. In the 2020s, it's having a podcast.
That is funny. That is funny. Yeah. So like I would say like historically, like my the show that I will watch, go back to Hulu, and like I've seen like, you know, I've watched seasons, you know, 1 through 10 of New York, like Jesus Christ. I mean, at least like, who knows, like 30 times each, like a million. This happens to be like, there are a lot of growing pains. Like they lost like the face of the show. Like they lost the glue, and it's just a little bit like chaotic right now. It's definitely like not my favorite season, but
it's very chaotic. I always feel really stressed out after each episode, especially with like all the drinking.
The drinking. They need like a grounding. There needs to be a grounding force.
They need to bring on Heather Locklear. Heather Locklear always bailed out 90s soap operas, like at Melrose Place. They brought her on, boom, it was an instant success. You know, like
you're so right.
They need to bring on something like, you know, like a Heather Locklear rescue person, and then
she'll be great on Beverly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
What is Heather Locklear doing these days? Is she okay? I don't know. I feel like I feel like things are not well in the Heather Locklear world. You know, I haven't.
I'll find out and I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
One last Bravo thing. Do you know what really took me by surprise during lockdown is that I would always kind of like, I don't really feel like watching Summer House because nothing's going to happen. And this season was on fire. It was so good. I can't wait to see more of Hannah and company.
Absolute Summer House. I mean, for people who loved Vanderpump Rules like in its heyday, and were sort of disappointed by this past season, which I was as well. Like, you know, listen, Vanderpump Rules seasons like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are like a Shakespearean tragedy. Like it is that brilliant and that good. But they can't sustain that, you know, forever. No. So it kind of like, listen, they're also like going through like a personality, you know, shift. The show is going through like an identity crisis. And
because, you know, they're all pushing 40 and they have more money than most waiters and waitresses in LA do, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And Summer House, the shows are like, actually like totally diametrically opposed, but Summer House, it's offering you that sort of like solve that Vanderpump used to, like when you used to get like fatigued from the housewife and Vanderpump was like so refreshing. Summer House is like so refreshing, but it's a totally different energy. It's very like light and bright. It's almost like a sitcom in the sense that every episode it reset. It literally like the storylines pretty much get resolved within the like 45 minits. And
I also call it dueling bedrooms because they do like the bedroom, you know, shots, and it's too bad. Yeah, I heard Carl on your show and it was hilarious. So
thank you.
I you know, bring the entire cast. I will listen.
Aww,
yeah, well, I was gonna say, when are you having Mr. Bravo himself on your program? When's Andy Cohen coming on?
Oh God, oh no, he would never do. I mean, he did.
Never say never. Never say never.
But honestly, here's the thing. When it comes to, so like interviewing, you know, talent is like my favorite thing. And I used to, like I said, like earlier, like I used to do it on this website. But here's the thing. People who have been interviewed so much, like Andy, it's kind of like, what am I looking to find out that he hasn't already been asked? Like even in like the deeper interviews, like he's been on Howard so many times. Like Howard has gotten the most out of him that he's ever going to really give.
You just have him on for a chat, you know, like and I say this, when we have Madonna on our podcast, we'll just, you know, like whatever she wants to talk about, we'll talk about, you know. Like,
do you think Madonna listens to podcasts?
I don't know. Tell Jess what she said when you gave her card.
So I got to sit with her at the Madame X show and share a beer with her and my friend. And we obviously were starstruck. But in my entire mind, when I knew when the security was pulling us over, I had one business card that I made up for the podcast left in my wallet. And I got it in my hand and I said to myself, Stefan, no matter what happens with this conversation, you have to tell her that you have a podcast about her. And so just as she's about to wrap up and says, you know, I have to get back to the show. I'm like, oh, Madonna, I have a podcast about you. And I don't know if it was that she just wasn't focused on, like, she was trying to get back into Madame X mode, or she didn't hear me clearly or whatever. It was she seemed a bit confused and and didn't really care. It was like, oh, okay, just give the card to him and her assistant, and that was the end of that. I was like, well,
amazing.
at least I told her I had a podcast about her.
I'm surprised she didn't, just give it right back to you in that faux British accent.
I should have asked her if she would have been a guest. See, I wasn't forward enough. I should have been like, Madonna, I have a podcast about you, and I'd love for you to be on the show. Will you be a guest? Put her on the spot,
I think the audience would have been right behind you.
Yeah.
Jess, did you go see Madame X?
Oh yeah, I saw.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so I saw Madame X 3 times here in New York at BAM, and
oh my God, me too.
Oh yeah, 3 times.
3 times at the BAM.
Amazing. Yes. So the most special. Listen, I paid the money. It's like, I'm not gonna have some. I don't want to sit far back, and I don't want to. Although I actually feel that sitting in that, like in the mezzanine or the balcony, whatever that upper level was, I actually think those probably were very good seats if you're in the first couple of rows.
Right.
Yes.
So
which I can tell you, because I did have that for like my second Madame X viewing. I was in the second row of the upper mezzanine, and. It was a great. I was able to see things that I hadn't seen.
That's where you see Frozen.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't able to see things when we were fourth row. The first time where it was like Tony and I were just like Madonna sitting right in front of us and we're gobsmacked. And I'm like, my God, her wig looks great. And
her wig is great.
But yeah, it was like, oh my God, she's right there. But yeah, those other seats. Tony had a cheap seat in the back though.
Oh my God. So when that initial lottery happened,
yes,
I got, I was ready to spend the money. And then all of a sudden they're like, this is your ticket. And it was almost in the very last row.
Second to the last row.
And like all the way to the end, there was like maybe 2 seats to the side. And I was like, trying to sell them. Nothing happened. I ended up going. Someone took my phone bag by mistake. I was there till 2:30 in the morning looking for my phone. I was like, I would never do this for Lady Gaga.
Or anybody else,
or Stacey Q or anybody like that. So, but as I'll let you continue with your Madame X experience. But yeah, I mean, it was like, oh my God, how tired was everyone every day after that show?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but I definitely did like brace myself for like the time commitment. Like I was able to actually like psychologically, get into it and like make myself wide awake at like 10 o'clock at night. I mean, I think it was like adrenaline and like whatever.
Yeah.
But, okay. The most unique special experience I had was one of the times I was able to get front row seats.
Nice.
Like my seat was in the front row. I've never been front row at a concert ever. And there I was front row and I'd already seen the show. I think the time I was front row, it was either the second or third time I saw it. So I'd already seen it like, maybe from like the 4th row, whatever, 5th row. So I was going back and I don't know if you guys are aware of this. She locks eyes with somebody during Killers Who Are Partying. Or maybe I just know this because she did this with me. She stared into my soul during Killers Who Are Partying. And so much so that my friend was sitting, a little bit off to the side and she saw it. Like afterwards, she like walked up to me and like grabbed my shoulder because like she literally saw the eye contact.
Were you okay after that moment, or were you just like?
I mean, just you can't hide from Madonna.
No, it was
the look of love.
It was amazing, and like the other times that I saw it, the first time I was, I don't know, probably 4th row on the aisle, and as you guys know, like being on the aisle was the best place to be because you could fist bump her on the way out. So like, got to do that. I listen. I mean. I did everything I needed to do. I wasn't going to buy the Polar, that stuff. Like, I don't care about that. I like having the moments, like the personal moments. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So what was your favorite part of the show? Like what was what stood out for you?
I really have to say Frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was such a magical moment.
I felt like it really stopped the show in its tracks. And that's like kind of what you look for in a live show. It's that song that like literally like you're just like frozen, as I say, just literally just like grabbing your friend who's next to you and just, you can't believe that you're witnessing such like brilliant artistry. So I would say Frozen. I mean, I absolutely love that she included Human Nature and the fact that she brought back like the video choreo, like that was super fun as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Frozen, I'm curious to see if it'll have such gravitas when we see the tour film. But I just remember the first time seeing it and then the couple times afterwards. I mean, each time I would see it, it had such a heft to it, because not only was it just she sounded beautiful, the arrangement was beautiful, it was a very truthful version to Frozen, but and then not only was Lola's choreography, the interpretive dance video, that was shot so beautifully and done so beautifully, and then the way that they staged it so that way Madonna was sort of floating amongst that video, that was so beautiful. But then I thought the thing that was most iconic about that was you're watching the product of Madonna's career melting with her real life, where you're like, oh yeah, here's her daughter now grown, and the implication of the song with her relationship, and whether or not they actually have a rocky relationship is irrelevant, because it's just sort of like, it was just such a beautiful marriage, it's haunting.
And at that time, and at that time, I didn't know that she had all of those tattoos. Like, I didn't know that she had the mom and dad on the knuckles.
I know.
And actually, just today, did you see those photos that came out of Lola in New York City? I think they were taken yesterday of her, like, she's either smoking like a joint or like a cigarette, whatever. You saw those photos? They were good.
She looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to find
They were really good. I loved it. I loved it.
So,
Jess, look it up.
Look it up. Okay, Jess, tell us about your other close encounters with Madonna.
Ooh, well,
other tours, other run-ins.
Oh, other tours. Well, I'll just say the first. Yeah, I did have like one run-in with her, which I'll tell you guys in a second. But aside from that, the first, I actually still have framed in my apartment. The first time I ever saw her live was, so I had missed the girly show. Like, I was very much aware that the girly show was going on, but I was like 10 or something, and like my parents weren't letting me go to like Madison Square Garden to like go see the girly show. I remember like seeing the ad for it in the New York Times, like on my kitchen table, and just being like, "Are you like, I can't go?" Like, and my mom was like, "I know."
Yeah, that was a little bit of an adult. That was an adult show for a 10-year-old.
It doesn't matter. She would have caught up,
But I was like an insane fan. Like, it was driving me mental that I couldn't go. And so all those years passed, and I was like, I'm never going to see her live. Like, this was during that stretch that she wasn't performing. Yeah. And I just basically accepted, like, that's it. Like, it's not happening. And then suddenly, who knew that it would kick off another like couple of decades of her like touring like pretty regularly. But like when the Drown World Tour was announced in 2001, I mean, by that point I was an adult, I was in college. I just graduated high school. I was like maybe freshman or sophomore in college, and hell yeah, like at that point I was going to Madonna. And so I saw her for the first time on my birthday, July 31st, 2001. And I have the ticket stub framed with the music cover art in my closet here. Yeah.
And that was at Madison Square Garden, right?
Yeah.
I think I was at that show too. Yeah, that was the first.
So that was the first show I saw live. And I remember like just like loving, she was doing like heavy, like the songs from music. And I think American Life.
No, it was Ray of Light and
it was Ray of Light and Music.
Yeah.
Okay. But I remember she did do like Secret. Like she had pulled a few songs from her earlier catalog, like four songs or something. And I'm pretty sure Secret was one of them.
There was Holiday. There was a little bit. Yeah, I loved that tour. That's one of her. I think that's one of her best.
But I would see, so also like around that time, so this is like my close encounter story. So at that time, I was an intern at ABC News. So I work in tech, like my background's in tech and design. And, you know, my background was, I guess, quote unquote, web design is what they used to call it back in the day. And like now it's called like user experience design, whatever.
Right.
Anyway, so I was working on web stuff for ABC News, and this was when American Life was coming out, and I knew that she was going to be on live with Regis and Kelly. It was Regis and Kelly at that time, and I basically snuck backstage because I was able to get in the building and like move around because I was an intern, you know. So I basically just like. I do kind of have it's sort of like my superpower or like my hidden talent is I'm physically how do I say I'm physically
you're like a ninja. You're like a ninja.
Yeah. Like I can sneak. Like if I need to like sneak to the front of like a concert, like I probably I can like do all that shit. You know, like I'm not very tall and like I can kind of like get where I need to go. So, so I literally just like, I don't know. And like nobody kicked me out. And so cut to, I'm backstage. Madonna is about to go on. It is only myself, Madonna, and Gelman, you know, the producer of Live.
What a dream come true.
No, I was like I was literally shitting my pants. And actually, no, I'm pretty, to be honest, I don't even think I was like, in moments like that, I sort of had this like presumed like I deserve to be here. Like I can be kind of like
it makes sense. Like you're like, yes, this is how life should be.
It honestly does make sense. Like for me, like I kind of can work certain situations. But I remember the day. Do you guys remember when she performed for the first time on MTV? It was called I think it was called On Stage and Off the Record or something. It was
yes, I remember because it happened at the Tower Records. I waited in line for about 2 hours and then I'm like, fuck this. I'm not spending the night on Bleecker Street. I'm going home, you know? And now I still think about that. I was like,
you kick yourself every night for not waiting in line.
You could have toughed it out, you know? You could have toughed it out to hear Nothing Fails performed acoustically.
Exactly.
You know?
She was so I watched that live on MTV. She was wearing like a black, I think it was like a striped, like black and white, horizontal striped shirt. She played Like a Prayer, Nothing Fails, and like maybe one other song. Oh, yeah, maybe one other song. Yeah. And she hadn't performed Like a Prayer live in a really long time. And I genuinely thought it was incredible. And so the two things I said to her were, I loved your performance of Like a Prayer yesterday. She said, thank you. And then I don't know why, but I asked her if she wanted an Altoid. Like I was like,
did her breath smell?
No, it was more like I just wanted to like I probably did that because I was so relaxed. Mm-hmm. You know, it just like would be a normal thing. Like, oh, like, do you need help with anything? Like,
did she take the Altoid?
Can I get you a chair or some water? How about an Altoid?
No, she didn't. No, she said no. But I will say this, and I actually I didn't say this on I kind of like told the story a little bit, to another guest.
With Isaac.
But one thing that I forgot, exactly, yeah, I interviewed Isaac Boots. But one thing that I remembered after I told him that, there's a third piece to this story, which was, so then Madonna goes off and, does the interview with Kelly and with Kelly Ripa. And I guess it must have been like her publicist or somebody who was, or an assistant who was backstage with us. I asked her, like, is there any way, like, if I wanted to get like a signed photo from Madonna, like how could I do that? How could I go about doing that? And she said, let me get your name and your information and I'll see what I can do. So I gave her my address, my name, all of that. And it must have been like 3 or 4 months later, I get a very flat, thick package in the mail. And it is indeed a black and white photo of Madonna personalized to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
What photo was it?
I don't even know. You know, to me, I should find it and take a picture of it. No,
like,
I didn't lose it. It's here, but it's not something that for some reason, like, it's more like the ticket stub that I like treasure more than like that
because
photo.
of the experience.
Because of the experience. Yeah, I think subconsciously I was like, how do I know this is real? Like, I mean,
her handwriting is very,
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was because it just got sent to me. I was like, I think I had this like weird suspicion around, you know, it's not like I like stood there and like saw her sign it. It was like, it's just a leap of faith. I need to.
I mean, listen, for all we know, Guy Oziri has that unique talent that he can reproduce anyone's handwriting, and he's probably just sitting there.
But isn't that crazy that this person like actually came through for like a random nobody?
I feel like back in the day before the internet was how people got in touch with each other, I feel like if you just reached out to Icon or reached out to the management, I feel like you got more, you know, but I guess the world got too big.
I mean, I was like shocked. That was very shocking too. I was almost like, I almost like didn't believe it. Like that was really, I really think that's why I have it just sort of like in a folder, like protected somewhere. It's kind of like, ooh, it's almost like freaky to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people where I'd rather have a picture with the person as opposed to an autograph picture, you know, like I don't need someone to have sign their signature. I'd rather have a picture with them so I can at least be like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So Jess, I have a question for you because now that you've revealed that you worked at ABC News, I've always wanted to know the answer to this question. Madonna has said many times that she loves Cynthia McFadden and that's the only person who will interview her for ABC. Do you know why?
I have no idea. That's so interesting. I've never heard that
I like
before.
Cynthia McFadden. Yeah, she's a good interviewer.
Yeah, and if you go back and see a couple of the interviews with Madonna, they have a really good rapport. And it's like, God, I wish I could see her do that more with other reporters. Because, you know, when she gets icy, it gets really cool.
There's quick cuts of that on YouTube where she's not had good interview questions. And
I mean, I think my favorite moment in like a Madonna interview was where she's freaking out about the room being too hot. She's like, I need a fan. I need a fan. That is amazing. But what do you think is the best interview she's done? Or if, I guess answer that. And also, like, who do you think she had the best chemistry with, like, host-wise?
I think Stefan will agree with me. I think Kurt Loder got a lot out of her and she respected him as a journalist, you know, where she wasn't like looking to like, you know, sink him, you know, she was like, okay, answering his questions, you know, like I'm thinking specifically of the Take a Bow, making of the video and also Breakfast with Madonna, the,
where she's in the robe with the blonde ponytail. Yeah.
With the rosary. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think as far as like, what has culturally resonated the most in terms of like what's an iconic interview of hers, a lot of people always go back to the infamous David Letterman interview where, you know, she was dropping the F word and smoking cigars. And I mean, that was pop culture history, you know, like that's such a memorable moment. I also loved her interview on Nightline when she was there for Justify My Love. I mean, I stayed up late to watch that, and it's such a great interview because everything that she says in that interview is completely 100% true. You know, like she's sitting there saying she's being trashed for presenting stuff that people are doing in their own bedrooms. You know, it's she's just super smart.
Yeah, and then when Wallace criticizes her for commercializing the scandal, she's like, yeah, lucky me.
Exactly. Yeah, she made money on it.
Yeah.
Wait,
I mean, there's just been so many great.
Oh no, I was just going to say, tell us how your podcast came to fruition. I'm curious how Hot Takes and Deep Dives came about. I mean, obviously,
sure.
So you loved Bravo, and you were like, I'm going to talk about them on a podcast.
Well, so this is how it happened. So I initially had another podcast that I did with a co-host, and it was basically like I mean, I never had any aspirations of creating a podcast or like putting myself out there in that way. Like I've actually like in the past I've been like sort of like shy about really putting myself out there, and I had accumulated a bunch of stories about sort of like these like sort of insane, very funny encounters that I've had with housewives, like over the years. Like I went to Jill Zarin's like luxury luncheon in the Hamptons. Like I found a way to like get into that. Like sort of like how I was saying, like I found a way to like get backstage at the Madonna interview. And so I had like a bunch of stories like that. Like I was at, Countess Luann's very first cabaret show in New York that they filmed for the Housewives, and all the housewives were there. And like
the Giovanni one?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God, Jess.
And so at the taping of, so get this, at the taping of that, the show ends, and I leave we were like literally signing the check, and my partner was like, Bethany just went to the bathroom, and I was like, they saw that I was like getting really antsy about paying the check. They're like, just go, just do what you need to do. And so my whole thing is, rather than getting a photo with somebody, I'll take it one step further. You know how like you don't want to get the autograph? I don't even want a photo with somebody. I want a video with somebody. And my thing with the Housewives is I have us like reenact like something iconic. And so I got Bethany to do Mention It All with me. And so we did that. She came out of the bathroom, and I was like, hey, Bethany, like, can we just do a quick video? And the two of us go, Mention It All, which is like an iconic, like very funny line she had. I did the same thing with, I ran into Andy Cohen in a parking lot out east, and we did the whole Don't Let It Be About Tom. It's about Tom.
Please don't let it be about Tom.
Yeah, literally, we literally did that in one take, like exactly like that. So like that, to me, that's just like so much more entertaining. Listen, if you can make it happen, if you're able to like stage it in a certain way. So anyway, the point is, like, I had like a bunch of these, like I was on a plane with Ramona Singer, like just tons of like happenstance stories. And so I met this guy who would later become my co-host, and like basically that podcast was us telling these sort of humorous stories to each other. And in that, like, we started doing a lot of interviews. Like we interviewed, Kelly Ben-Simone, Heather Thompson, a lot of housewives, and a lot of like housewives-adjacent people. And, like Dr. Sharon Giese, Ramona's like plastic surgeon, people like that, people like that.
Please tell me that you got Sonia's facialist.
She's on the list. Or like one of Sonia's interns. Yeah. Like that's like, that's a get. So we did that, and we had like really like huge success. Like some of the interviews went viral. It was an amazing experience. And then we kind of split off, and I kind of like reinvented it as Hot Takes and Deep Dives as like its own show. And it's me, and I have, guest co-hosts like every episode. I have like recurring co-hosts. I interviewed the host of Inside the Groove, that podcast, Edward Russell. And we went like really deep.
Was a great episode.
Thank you. Yeah, we did that. I did, like I said, like I still do, some music focused episodes. Like, I go head to head with like my friend who's like the biggest Madonna fan I know, or the biggest Gaga or Britney fan. And then we'll go head to head with Madonna. We did top 20 songs, and we literally count down from 20 to 1 and like debate each other. And I've done that with like Gaga. We do like top 10. Britney, we recorded one for Christina Aguilera, and like that'll come out in a couple of weeks. So
awesome.
Just keep it cool, keep it tight.
Wait, so I'm curious, if Madonna was going to be on one of the Housewives shows, which one would she go on?
That is actually like a brilliant question.
I mean, would she be a Lady of London? Would she be Beverly Hills? Would she be New York? I mean, New York, right?
She'd have to be New York, right? I mean, there's no Real Housewives of Detroit.
She would have to be New York. It would only work if Bethany was there. Right. She would never do the show without Bethany. And she would never do if like Andy left Bravo. Like it would have to be like all like things would have to be lined up like just so. Yeah, I guess New York, like in its prime. You know who else would have to be there? Carol Radswell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like we'd have to really hone the cast.
It always takes me back to that episode where Kelly and Bethany are, doing that thing for that charity, and who was it? She's like, who does she think she is, Madonna? And it became like 2 episodes of a fight, right?
Mm-hmm. That's early. Wow, that's like season 2. Damn.
I told you, I know.
Yeah,
I mean, well, when
when
you think of it, the Housewives honestly owe their existence to Truth or Dare. Had Truth or Dare not been created, I mean, obviously, yes, I know the Real World and there were other reality shows out there and whatnot, but like Truth or Dare sort of was like the invention of pop culture reality, even though it was a proper documentary. And I think, reality sort of just was huge after that documentary.
Yeah. You know what I discovered the other day? If you haven't, you have to do it. So there was a show in 1991 called Blossom. It was like a TV sitcom. Mm-hmm. She did a Truth or Dare episode.
Really? Blossom?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the whole episode is black and white, and she's like, and then it goes to color for some scenes, and she's like doing Truth or Dare. I was going to tell you about it the other day. I forgot, Stefan, but it totally like blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, Madame Bialik has her button on the pulse of pop music in 1991.
Singing in like color, like she's doing performances.
I mean, like kind of. I mean, it's not like it's not like a professional singing thing.
Right.
She like, it like.
But it's not a joke like with Julie Brown when she did Medusa Dare to Be Truthful.
Well, she's not parodying Madonna; they're parodying the format. So it's like a documentary, and it's like black and white and color, and and she
Blossom's serious pop culture moment or something.
Exactly.
So you're so right about Truth or Dare. It's like, because think about it, the Real World New York, like the first season of the Real World came in 92, which was like fresh on the heels of, like it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm trying to think, were there any, like, what was the most formative music documentary prior to Truth or Dare?
I remember when Truth or Dare came out. I think it was Peter Travers who reviewed it, and I always used to like read the reviews of films, give it legitimacy or whatever. And he said that this was the best rock documentary since Bob Dylan's Don't Look Back. So I would I'd seen Depeche Mode 101 the year before, but there was no interaction with the band. It was, like a couple of their fans and then live performances, but there was never anything that showed you everything happening backstage.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I kind of wanted a documentary about myself after I saw Truth or Dare. I mean, I know I'm not a singer, but I still kind of wanted cameras to follow me around. Like I was like, this would be great. How much fun this would be.
And now, like in like the modern era, it's so interesting to watch like the Lady Gaga Netflix documentary, 5 of 2, and that Taylor Swift documentary that came out. They're just, particularly Gaga. And I love Gaga, but she's just trying so hard to be Madonna in Truth or Dare. And the Taylor Swift documentary it's just like there was nothing there. Like there's no plot, there's nothing, there's no like gloss in it.
I just remember the 1989 concert video with her introducing all her friends, and then your recent guest Laura Marie did her video, and it was crazy. It was hilarious. It was better than the actual show. So I always once a year post Laura Marie's video.
Amazing.
And it's like, this is what actually should have been on the 1989 documentary.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, I have a question for you. What would Madonna's Real Housewife tagline be?
That is that is unbelievable. So I never thought about this before in my life, but this is what I've come up with. And it's just funny that we're just talking about Truth or Dare. So maybe it's like kind of on the nose. And maybe we're going to need to like hone this and like workshop it a bit.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay. This is what I've come up with. The truth hurts, and I dare you to judge me.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. What's your tagline, Jess? Obviously, if you were ever going to be on
I don't have one. I'm not. Yeah, I don't have one. I have to like really think about that. But I know people have come up, like Andy Cohen, because he's written a couple of books and he's gone on like book tours and stuff. People like give him his taglines. You know, like there's like one guy that showed up at a bunch of his book tours, and like each one, like for each year, he was like, I've refined your tagline. So like Andy gets a kick out of that. But I don't know. I think it's I definitely don't have one for myself quite yet, but I don't know. I think the Madonna one may be good.
Yeah, that's a good one. You should adopt it. Mine is when there's blood in the water, I'm the first shark on the scene.
Oh.
I don't know what franchise that's for, though. I don't even know if it's been created yet. Yeah?
That's funny.
So, Stefan, is it time for my favorite part of the podcast?
I think it might be time for the lightning round. So, Jess, as you know, because you've listened to the podcast, we ask all of our listeners a few quick, random, off the top of your head questions. Just answer wherever you're at within your Madonna journey right now as we speak. Favorite Madonna song?
Secret.
Oh, mine too.
Nice. Favorite Madonna.
That's your number one?
Madonna video.
Oh my God. Justify My Love.
Oh God, I love that.
Dirty.
Dirty.
You know, I discovered something new about Justify My Love that I never knew before. And if you guys already knew it, I'm sorry. Debbie Mazar makes a cameo in that video.
Oh, I did do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just her eyes, but that's all I need.
I was going to say, I'm like, it's not the person she's making out with in the bed in front of Tony Ward.
No, it's kind of like a dissolve shot, but you know, just like Madonna said famously at Live Aid, she ain't taking shit off tonight, and she didn't. You know, she was one of the few people in that video that did not strip.
Madonna took her clothes off. She was in that bra and panties in the bed. Jess,
who runs around a hotel without a suitcase? That's all I want.
Well, she dressed light. That's why she had that thin little briefcase. She didn't need to pack much. She was. I always envisioned that. Sorry, we're diverting off of Lightning Round for a second. I always envisioned that was Madonna on a break from her lunch. You know, like she was like on lunch break from the office, and that's where she ran over to the hotel to have like a clandestine affair. It was just like a lunchtime dress, a little afternoon delight.
The kind of hotel where everybody leaves their doors open.
I mean, maybe they were cleaning the rooms. You know, there was a big turnover hour at the hotel or something. I don't know. Jess, favorite Madonna look?
Oh, gosh. Okay. Favorite Madonna look? I think the Like a Prayer video.
Dark hair Madonna, huh?
I do like her with dark hair. Yeah, I mean that's just like top of mind. I'm sure I'll think of so many others, but
changes. You know,
it's just what came to me. And I also love when she has like wavy hair like that. It's beautiful.
Favorite Madonna tour?
Blonde Ambition.
Ponytail or curly hair?
Curly hair.
I was gonna say everyone has a favorite.
I could do this all day. Please keep this lightning round.
Keep it together or holiday.
Oh my God, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it together.
Yeah. And you know, we recently spoke with Nikki and Donna separately, and they both like surprisingly that's their favorite thing from Blonde Ambition. Like they really just go off talking about that.
I'll tell you, I'll tell you, the choreography in Keep It Together is something that I have always, since the day that I first watched it, was mesmerized by. Mm-hmm. To this day, like it's the thing that I show people. Like I know it's like Bob Fosse inspired, but I think it's amazing. The looks, the costuming, the choreography. It is just how she jumps down the thing in the middle at the end. It's just so badass. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 1990, and then someone shows up and tells you, "I'm going to mix up Cabaret, Sly and the Family Stone, Clockwork Orange, and you're going to love it." You know?
Yep.
Yeah, too true. Well, Jess, thanks for coming on the show today.
Oh my God,
Wait.
this was what?
Jess, I need you to plug all your stuff.
Oh.
Tell us where we can find you. Tell us who's coming on your show. Tell us everything.
Sure. Okay, so the name of my podcast is Hot Takes and Deep Dives. My Instagram, my personal Instagram is Jess X NYC. So those are the main places you can find me. Mm-hmm. And okay, upcoming episodes. Like I said, I have T. Kyle, who is the host of It's Britney Bitch and Legends Only, which are like two like amazing like music podcasts that you should listen to. So he's coming on probably the week that this is released, next week. And do you remember the show Workout on Bravo with Jackie Warner?
Oh my God, are you getting Jackie on your show?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Are you sitting down?
Like, I am sitting down.
No. Okay. I have been trying to get her. I've been trying to interview her for a year.
Where has she been?
I'll tell you.
You're going to have to listen to the podcast and find out, Tony.
I finally interviewed her yesterday, and it's coming out. It's coming out the week that this is out. It'll be out by the time people hear this. And the interview it's actually fucking crazy.
I can't wait.
She went on and on about her relationship with Jillian Michaels. Like they were together for 6.5 years. They've like never spoken about this publicly.
I did not know that. Oh my God. And Jillian Michaels, she's got a mouth on her.
Oh, she hates her. She hates her fucking guts. She told me how she basically like characterized her as just a complete sociopath monster and like gave so many examples. And at the end, she was like, she's probably going to sue me. I'm like, she's like, yeah, I bet you $50 she's going to sue me after this comes out. I'm like, okay.
Well,
so well,
you know, like Madonna said, by the time this comes out, it won't matter.
Right. So that's what you can look forward to. I mean, I'm so happy that I was
so excited.
I couldn't find her for like a year. And then like suddenly I found a way to get to her. But like, it was like a year in the making, honestly.
Yeah, you guys need to listen to Hot Takes and Deep Dives because it is Bravo yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Yes.
Tony with the taglines.
So I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe it's because I'm schwitzing over here. But we just want to say thanks to all of you guys for, choosing us to listen to while you're, at home, working from home, not working from home, but, staying safe and staying inside, even though it's really hot and we all want to go to the beach, but we got to do our part. Thanks for listening to us. Visit us on Twitter and Instagram at MLVC Podcast. Like and subscribe, rate and review. Drop us a line on the website www.mlvc.com.
And remember, wear a mask, social distance, do your part. Let's kick this shit away, and then we can all celebrate.
Madonna wore a mask when she went to protest in London, so why can't you?
There you go.
I've actually seen a few Madonna-inspired masks online. I don't know if I'm going to get one, but...
you don't want a Madame X mask? It'll go with your iPad.
I was not a fan of the eye patch. But anyway, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time, and check out Jess's podcast as well.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks everyone.
This was so fun. Thank you.
See you soon.
You.
Bye.
Bye.